Thanks for coming on to the show, Christine. I'm Alex. You know Brandon.
True.
I don't know if you've met Frank.
Never. Total strangers.
We have met.
Good.
He's lying.
Terrific. As he always does.
That is my character on the show. Everything I say is a lie.
Yeah, the format of the show is Brandon always tells the truth and Frank always tells a lie. Wow! Incredible! This is episode 206 of Insert Credit, a relentless onslaught of video game topics our panel must address in 6 minutes or fewer, or face the penalty of a horrible buzzer. I'm Alex Jaffe, and if I had to adapt a road from my real life into a racing game, it would be the uneven pathway from my childhood home past the rapidly deteriorating golf course.
Wow, that is not a thing that I can just pull up from my brain. My name is Frank Spaldi, and if I had to put a road from my real life into a video, you know what? I grew up in Vegas, which means that I grew up on the Las Vegas Strip.
You're
that's
set.
Where we all live.
Yeah, everybody lives there.
I would do that.
Just gambling all the time.
Yeah, I majored in blackjack.
Little known fact, Frank grew up in the Neon Cowboys hat.
Yeah, but I'm going to assume it's a small vehicle game like karts or motorcycles, because you can do cool shortcut stuff by kind of going up like the stairs and the escalators to cross the streets and things like that. Everything's weird.
Yeah, cruising style.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Cool. I'm Brandon Sheffield. If I were to put a road from my real life into a video game, I guess I sort of did. I realized when making Oh Dear, our driving game, the programmer was like, why do you keep making these roads so hilly and adding curves at the same time? It doesn't make sense. That's not how stuff works. And I was like, I don't know, it feels right to me. And then I was driving to my friend's wedding in Northern California in Marin County, and I was like, oh, this is why I did this, because this is just what the roads are like up here. You go up to the wine country and similar, and it's just all hilly roads turning around this way and that way, and I realized that subconsciously I had put those roads that I had driven as a young person into
You lived this question.
into the video game. Yeah, I have, turns out.
Well, joining us this week is the co-founder of Love Conquers All Games and developer of such mega hit AAA blockbusters as Analog: A Hate Story, A Lady Killer in a Bind, and the brand new lesbian road trip RPG Get in the Car loser, Christine Love.
Hi, I'm Christine, and if I was putting a road in my real life into a game, I don't drive. I don't know anything about roads, actually, despite making a game about a car. There's this little subway crossing just a little bit south of me that cars, like, when they're really drunk, will just drive into, and I have no idea what they're thinking. They always get stuck. They always have to get towed out. I'd like to make a racing game where you're the guy just going down the subway tracks, and I don't know what you're doing down there. I think we should figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah, somebody's got to get to the bottom of this.
that sounds solid.
Let's put a committee together.
I enjoyed going through the subways in Grand Theft Auto 4 on a motorcycle, so maybe we
Yes.
should make a game out of that.
There's definitely potential there. Now, Christine, I went over the rules with you before we began the show, but one thing I did not tell you is that every episode of this program is scored. The winner at the end of the episode gets the honor and privilege of picking a question for the next episode of the show. Last week's winner was our very own Brandon Sheffield, and this is the point where we find out whether he forgot to do his homework.
I totally didn't realize that I won. Yep.
All right, well then we'll get back to you after the break. In the meantime, how has video game art and design been impacted by Christian iconography?
Well, I certainly know that, like, in the 90s, it wasn't clear whether you couldn't show Christian stuff or it was just people were worried about it. But Japanese developers especially were like, we better take these crosses out that we put in here. So, like, in Splatterhouse on the TurboGrafx, you go up to this altar in the Japanese version, and there's like crosses and stuff there, and it kind of makes sense that he's like walking toward that, and there's a little cutscene about it. And then in the US version, he's just walking up to an empty pedestal that has nothing on it, because they're like, oh, we better not offend the Christians. So certainly in that regard that was there. But at the same time, you had like Konami had all kinds of crosses in Castlevania. So maybe there was a point at which it just people were like, I don't know, it's probably fine.
What do you think the logic?
Well, I can answer that, which is that it was part of Nintendo's approval process that you could not have religious iconography at all in your
Right.
games. So at least on those systems, there was specifically something in place that prevented it. My guess would be that TurboGrafx folk were just kind of following Nintendo's lead. Like, I don't know, let's do what Nintendo does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely powerful shape they got there. That cross, good shape.
Yeah, I mean, the other iconography that comes to mind for me is just generally like devil or demon
Yeah,
iconography.
angels and demons.
Yeah, I mean how often are bad guys have like devil horns to show that they're bad?
Yeah.
Or like maybe the final form of the boss, they reveal themselves to be a demon, or I don't know, RPGs you end up sort of like killing the source of actual evil and sort of demony. I think that all comes from Christian iconography, I think.
Yeah.
It's always like very vague though. Like it's never like anything specific, and like that's why like when like you're playing like Shin Megami Tensei, like it really jumps out, that they're actually pulling from like actual Christian mythology, or like actually naming the angels, as opposed to just these sort of vague ideas of demons that could sort of be from really any culture.
Yeah, I guess Shin Megami Tensei did some specific demons, and they actually tried to get like real angels and devils and stuff. They got like Gabriel and stuff in there. I think that's pretty cool. Why not use the real ones? I mean, it's all, no offense to anybody, it's all fictional stuff anyway. Like, let's just go for it. Let's just use them. They're public domain.
There was this weird trend on the Sega Master System. It didn't really even seem to matter what company made the game, but for some reason in quite a few Master System games specifically, when your character dies, there is an outline of them in angel form that flies out of their body. This includes Alf, by the way. Like Alf becomes an angel.
Is Alf going to heaven?
I don't know if it's like Christian
That's
heaven.
a good question.
I don't think there's room for him there.
Does Melmac have its own?
Well, we know all dogs go to heaven. And,
right. Alf's a dog.
Yeah, and we know that dogs hate cats.
Yeah, clearly a dog.
So maybe Alf attacking cats wouldn't be a mark against him, vis-a-vis whether he qualifies for heaven.
All I know is you go in that basement and a bat touches you and you're an angel now. That's
doesn't Mario get a little halo in Super Mario World when he dies or runs out of lives?
Somebody does. A lot of
yeah.
I feel like Bubsy gets one.
This video game series Halo wouldn't exist without
That's right. There was that time where games in Japan were just using the word Bible. So there's the Last Bible series, there's the Bible Master series. Those sure wouldn't exist. All those Wisdom Tree games wouldn't exist. We should also talk about the Crackdown cover for Genesis. Everybody's seen that, I guess, but I posted it in the chat here because we got Satan with a like a star on his head.
Oh, and it's specifically Goat Satan.
Yeah, Goat Satan, Beelzebub.
I've never seen this guy in my life.
No, it's pretty good. There's you got two muscle men. You got your Satan, Beelzebub, goat form. You got a stormtrooper of some kind and an orangutan.
And both of the muscle men have like my aging hairline.
They're muscly, but they're kind of like the older American doughy kind of muscly in a certain way. They got like faces are not like chiseled. They're
right.
kind of like office manager face pasted on a muscle body. Yeah, Crackdown, man. I wish that game was a little cooler because I love that cover.
Buzzer sound. On to the next topic. What are the worst ports of the best games?
Ooh, I mean, there's like Street Fighter on the ZX Spectrum and stuff like that. There's just all those games that you just can't put it on there, but they tried anyway. Those are actually kind of fun to look at, I have to say.
Right, those have a charm to them.
Sure, but they are bad also.
I feel like there's definitely like a range of like, I don't know, fighting games on the Game Boy is like a free spot on the bingo, but like some of them are just like uncharmed. Like Street Fighter for the Game Boy is like, there's not really any redeeming qualities. Everything looks like mud. You can't even tell your characters apart. It's just like, it's not even fun to, make fun of. These are just like, very poorly suited.
Yeah, that's a good one. Also, I guess the entirety of the Tiger LCD library is a good candidate. Maybe it's too generous to even call them ports because
well, I mean, one that I would call a port would be Sonic Jam, which is meant to sort of be like Sonic Jam on the Saturn, which is
that's on the Gamecom. I was talking about the LCD ones, but that's a good example as well.
Sorry. Well, okay. Well, let's switch to the Gamecom for a second here. Then, Sonic Jam on the Gamecom is meant to be a port of Sonic 2, 3, and Knuckles, I believe.
Yeah.
And for the most part, you're running around. It's like, I'm playing a Sonic. I'm in this level. Level has the same layout, same physics are essentially here. They're a little bit broken, but it doesn't feel good. First of all, the refresh rate of the screen is terrible, so that does not lend itself well to a Sonic the Hedgehog game, which is traditionally played kind of fast. Got to go fast. But worst of all, and I love this, it claims to be those 3 games. It is literally the first level of each of those games, and then it's over.
Yeah, very good. And they also have like I don't know, I don't remember if they had Virtua Fighter on that one or if they had it on the R Zone. No, they had Fighters Megamix on the Gamecom. And then there's Resident Evil on there. They're all bad. All those ports are really bad.
Resident Evil's really interesting though. Like unlike Street Fighter, you look at the Resident Evil port and it's like, okay, this is interesting looking. Like there's an aesthetic here that's kind of unique, and it's sort of a vision of what a portable system might have been in like the PlayStation era.
Yeah, they went for it with that one.
What else? I mean, like anything that was ported to like the IBM format until maybe like the VGA days, those are all terrible. Just universally, especially like CGA ports of like Capcom arcade games and stuff like that, including Street Fighter, I believe. Poor Street Fighter. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they got him good. I feel like some of the, I mean, nobody cares, but I feel like some of the FMV ports from PC to like Sega CD were pretty poor because just the video quality wasn't there. But
yeah, but the question is about like good games with bad ports.
Oh, right, it was good games. I forgot that part. Heck.
I don't know, like any PS2 version of a game that was on all the systems at that time usually is the worst one.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't think of one that's egregious.
Yeah, and I feel like, kind of like Christine said, some of those do fall into the category of interesting because it's like interesting to see how they tried to make it work. Or maybe Jeffy said that. I forget who said it. Somebody said it.
Wasn't me.
No, okay, it's probably Christine.
Wasn't anybody.
Oh, a ghost
the person
said
who
it.
said that's been dead for 27 years.
Cyberpunk on PS4? Is that the good joke? I don't know.
Is it a good game?
Kaboom!
Yeah. We have to wait a couple weeks, and then Tim's going to let us know.
Okay.
I think that comes out this Sunday. It might be out by the time you're listening to it.
Sunday. No, I think it's been delayed another week. I don't want to quote anybody on anything, but that's my impression. I don't know. We'll see.
Possible.
We'll find out.
Are we still on the timer here? Come on.
Yeah, we're still on the timer.
It's clearly dead. Let's move on.
Okay, let's move on. Speaking of moving on, has the Metroidvania outgrown Metroid?
Oh.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I do wish we had a different word for it. Like, we have to use it because people know what it means, or some people know what it means. But like, it doesn't need to have Metroid, and it doesn't really need to have Vania.
It definitely doesn't need to have Vania in it, and I think we could do without Metroid too, frankly.
Yeah. So like, what do we call it?
Axiom Verge 2 just came out, and like, it just came out in my the timescale I'm thinking on. But like, both these games like are taking like they have levels that look like Metroid, like they like give you like, you know, like that little like morph ball space and like this like 1 brick wide wall that like you're like, oh, I played a Metroid game, I know how to deal with this. And then like the mobility powers they give you are just like completely mind blowing. Like it opens your third eye when you realize that, oh, I've been playing these games for 20 years and it's always been the same thing. But maybe there's a new way to navigate the space. And like those 2 games were incredible for that. I feel like there's just like they're showing like there's just so much more room. And then you go back to Metroid Dread and it's like, oh, well, this is mostly stuff that this is stuff that I've seen before. I got the morph ball. Great.
Yeah.
Remember this?
And by the way, friend of the show, Christian Nutt, may have been the first to use it in a review. Someone was trying to track down the origin of the word, and the first published usage of Metroidvania that they could find was Christian Nutt. But hilariously, the reference that they could find of him saying it was, is this term overused and is everyone tired of this genre now? And it was in like 1995 or something.
Yeah. I think we should change it to something less annoying, like shmup.
No. How dare you? How dare you? I'm going to start calling beat 'em ups Bmups. and see how everybody feels about it.
Bmups.
With Metroidvania, it's frustrating because like there's no particular like the Castlevania aspect is pretty much grinding and getting new weapons as drops. I would say like that's the Castlevania part of it, which is specifically Symphony of the Night, and it's not really the other ones. And then the Metroid part is the labyrinthine structure, which Castlevania took sort of from Metroid, and the gating of areas with specific power-ups that are in specific locations. But those particular things, they don't feel like Metroid or Castlevania per se. They're just what those games contributed to this genre, and it just feels wrong that we're still calling it a Metroidvania when most of the time it has nothing to do with any of those games. Dagnabbit. I like the Igavania term. I think that's good because it's like
Well, that's a type of Castlevania, though. It's not a type of game.
yeah. So that's why I like that. But I feel like, for example, Chasm is people called it a Metroidvania, but it's really more of an Igavania. It's a Symphony of the Night like, basically. It doesn't have Metroid bits in it. So yeah, I don't know. But then it's weird because it's not like Ego worked on it. So is that okay to say?
I was just thinking we're just like so far past, like the games that we're talking about, and like Symphony of the Night was decades ago, and like
Sure.
that's sort of there wasn't, there were a few more the Igavania, as you say. There were a few follow-ups after that, but like by and large, like Castlevania is not the go-to for like if you're looking for a new Metroidvania, you are probably not playing a Castlevania game, and for the first time in 17 years, maybe you're playing a Metroid game now, but there's just so many things that have like taken over this genre, and we're still like going back to these 90s touch points.
Yeah, it's true. I think it's the fault of terminology being dictated by people in our age group. I don't know, Christine, I think you're a little younger than the others of us.
I mean, I'm younger, but I've always been like playing games off like people your age's recommendations, so it's the same thing, really.
As long as I get to determine what culture is, that's what's important.
Let's not skip ahead to recommendations just yet, which we specifically tell people what to consume.
Yeah.
But let's go on to the next question. What is the weirdest advice you've ever gotten for playing a video?
That's a good one that I need to think about a little bit. I'm sure I've gotten some.
I've got one. About 10 years ago, my friend Donnie was really into NetHack, and he was introducing me to the game. He said, make sure you always play as a female character, because if you get turned into a monster, then you can spawn little monsters.
Oh. All right.
Seems like pretty good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Applicable to
not
life.
Too bad.
Yeah.
I have been advised in my life on more than one occasion by GameStop employees not to purchase a game.
Huh. That seems counterintuitive.
One of them was Deadly Premonition. It was like, bro, don't buy this. It's really bad.
Wow.
Like, now I'm going to buy Deadly Premonition. Idiot.
Yeah.
Absolute moron.
Did you report him? Did he get fired?
Filth.
Where's that guy now? Probably dead.
Yeah. I'm sure that store is long gone, and it's his fault.
Yeah. But then he invested in that GameStop stock, and he made it all back.
Yeah. Why don't they just sell the stocks at the store?
Man, that's a good question.
Right. Weirdest advice is that.
Yeah, the weirdest advice you've gotten for playing a game.
I don't know that I've ever had like strategy discussions about video games with people. I don't know. Since like elementary school, maybe. And that was usually lying about there being like warp zones and stuff in games.
Yeah. I can't think of weird advice. I can think of normal advice. Like I was playing Demon Souls or whatever, and people are like, you should be whatever that class is that can use magic and weapons at the same time. But yeah, I just got like regular sensible advice by and large. But I feel like there's got to be something weird in there. Dadgummit.
I feel like I've gotten bad advice, but like not like an interestingly bad advice, just like normal incorrect.
I'm having a hard time coming up with specifics, but I have definitely gotten bad advice in GameFAQs walkthroughs.
Oh, yeah.
But it's mostly bad in terms of like not giving me any breathing room to actually experience the game. It's just like, oh, you are a computer who is trying to optimize, getting to the ending as fast as possible. Follow these specific instructions. Or like, I don't know. I've read facts for like RPGs I'm playing that tell me to level up, to like grind to level up to a certain experience number before getting to this boss or whatever, and then you get there and you just kind of sneeze and they die, and it's like, oh, you just don't know how to play this game. You're giving me the advice to play it wrong.
I've definitely gotten ones from GameFAQs where they're like, go left and then go right, and it's just incorrect. Like those were the wrong ways to go.
Maybe they were playing the game in second person so that all of the directions were first.
Yeah, that probably makes the most sense. That's probably what it was. I guess I have gotten weird advice from a GameFAQs thing. I was playing, I think, Jeanne d'Arc, and the guide was written by a furry, I think.
Okay.
And they were like, you should definitely pick up this character because she's a cute zebra girl, winky smiley face.
Oh, that's good advice.
I mean, it's
I mean, was she a cute zebra girl, winky smiley face? Like that just feels like telling you, seems like a good point of information.
Cute is subjective. I mean, the characters in that are pretty low poly. The difference between a cute zebra girl, winky smiley face, and a regular zebra girl are really muddled in that space.
I think I speak for all of us when I say that cuteness is defined by the cute zebra girl listening to this right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. What is and what is not a visual novel?
Heck. Yeah.
Well, I've read some comments on Twitter that suggest that a visual novel is just any time that you have text on screen.
Whoa, that's bold.
It's definitely a bold claim that is made with surprising frequency.
Wow.
I can't believe every international movie is a visual novel.
Yeah.
I mean, you say this, but like early aughts, like there was like a thing of games that like were generally considered visual novels being released on DVDs because like this was like obviously the big new format, and like they would just have text presentation in the in like the subtitle track, and then you could use the DVD menus to make your selections. So like there's no clear line there.
Yeah, it's hard with it because like in Japan they made distinctions between visual novels and digital comics, and like digital comics were basically you don't really have much choice. You're pretty much watching this narrative. You can have replies maybe, but it more or less like it's the same straightforward narrative and you can't change it and you're pretty much just watching it. But visual novels have choices and different outcomes and different endings. I think that was true at that time, but I don't think that needs to be true anymore. Like you can have a visual novel that's just a straightforward narrative, wouldn't you say?
I think so. I think in general, like part of the reason why these terms are so vague is just because like we just sort of like pulled it over from Japan without like really like actually getting into like what does Japan use these terms to mean, and like by and large it's inventing a distinction that doesn't largely exist. These were just talking about presentation styles. For example, visual novels are generally adjacent to Japanese style adventure games.
Yeah.
Where, like the Snatcher type of adventure game, for example, where you enter a room and you can talk to people and like look at things and smell things. And, like how is that different from like what, say, Ace Attorney is doing? They're clearly part of the same lineage. And whether you consider that a visual novel or not really just comes from a bunch of people on forums in the early aughts adopting marketing terms from Japanese games to describe certain types of narratives. Now we're sort of like trying to shoehorn in a bunch of things.
It's kind of tough to think about because for me, visual novel is like, it's almost like a vibe thing. Like Tokimeki Memorial is definitely a visual novel to me. But it also has like raising sim and simulation elements in it. So is it not a pure visual novel because it's got more than that? Or like, Fire Emblem Three Houses is mostly just talking. Occasionally, apparently, you can fight tactics battles in that game, but I played it for 3 hours and I only got to 2 in that time. Like, is that a visual novel? No, it's not. But why not? Because you can run around? I don't know. It's kind of weird because like in that game, I spent the majority of my time looking at talking heads, talking to each other, getting through dialogue that was very twee and anime. And it's like, I don't know, you strip this part out and it's just a visual novel.
My angle has always been like visual novel is like when people are talking about that, it's like, I think you're correct when you say it's a vibe. This is like when people are interested in buying visual novels, they're probably looking for something, that isn't like super like mechanical, super twitchy, or is like very story driven. But I think also it makes sense to think about it like as a presentation style. So you can have like adventure games with visual novel presentation, or like RPGs that have visual novel style conversations or visual novel style choices. And that way you don't have to like try to figure out like what's the line between Ace Attorney, Snatcher, and Tokimeki Memorial, or like, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can simply say, oh, well, this has dialogue scenes, this has choices that are drawing from visual novels.
So I'm advising called IGI. It's like Independent Games Initiative or something like that in Japan.
Igavania.
One of the teams that I'm helping out, they were like, I don't know exactly what to call this game genre-wise. And it's a shooting game, but it's very action-oriented, and each stage is very specific, but it also loops. They loop on themselves and stuff, and it's like each stage has a mechanical uniqueness to it, which is unlike your traditional twin stick shooter or whatever. They were saying, I don't know what kind of genre this should be. And I was saying, why not go back to what they used to do in Japan in the 90s, where they would, they'd be like tactical romance action. They would just take three things and put them together, and then you'd be like, oh, I kind of get the idea of what this is. I was just looking at the back of this Sega CD game I got here, Cosmic Fantasy Stories, and they call it a super animatic sci-fi role-playing game.
Oh.
It's like, put a bunch of descriptors in there. Why the heck not?
That's a great genre name.
Yeah.
For a future lightning round, I should pitch you a bunch of games that you come up with a genre for format.
Oh yeah, like Mario is a mushroom crushing action simulation.
Yeah,
or something.
Exactly like that. We'll think on that some more while we take a quick break.
Do we have a date on Christian not coining this term, Metroidvania?
Oh, he doesn't think he coined it. It's just someone who was researching it. That was the first published thing that they could find.
So we don't know when it was invented, but we know the first person to hate the term.
So it was actually Kate Willard.
Kate Willard looked? Okay. What did she come up with?
She said it was used occasionally on forums as early as 2001, but it looks like the earliest article to use the word might have been your 2005 preview of Dawn of Sorrow for GameSpot.
I agree with her. I got a news group post here from 2001. But also this author is like, there, call it Metroidvania from now on, or Casteloid.
Casteloid. Welcome back to Insert Credit. It's time for us to dive into the Dirtbag. This is the portion of every show where I take a question submitted to us by the listeners who have subscribed to patreon.com/insertcredit, where you can get access to the form, which allows you to submit questions, get access to our regular episodes one day early.
Wow, 1 day early?
1 day early! And even access to regular monthly bonus episodes and other exclusive content. This week's question comes from Spencer, who says, Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero was a critically panned action platformer spin-off made using the Mortal Kombat IP in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
You are tasked with making a new entry into the Mythologies series. Which Mortal Kombat character is it about, and how do you make it better?
Oh, nice. Well, first of all, it's got a great look, I have to say. That video game looks really good in 2021, in my opinion. It has pretty high-res backgrounds, and the digitized sprites work really well with this 2D plane. It's a full-on pseudo 3D game, or not pseudo 3D, 2.5D game, you would say. And it looks really neat, and it's too bad it doesn't play super well, because it's great to look at.
Would you call it a good-looking Bmup?
Yeah, it's a good-looking Bmup, for sure.
Is it a visual novel?
There is some conversation you have. I think it's got to be Scorpion, right? Like, Scorpion's got to be the next character that you do. You can have puzzles where you have to pull things. You have to get them over here. You throw your thing, and
He says it every time.
Says it every time. You can.
Oh, I got it. You have to climb a mountain, and it's getting over here with Bennett Foddy.
Yeah, get over here with Scorpion Combat.
Right.
Which is his full name.
Mortal Scorpion Combat. Yeah, you could pull enemies into grates and just do all kinds of nonsense. I think that would be pretty fun.
Does he have a teleport? No, that's Raiden that does the teleport thing, right?
Yeah.
Scorpion. What else does Scorpion do?
I think Reptile can teleport.
The Scorpion has the skull face flame.
Skull face
mouth?
Flame, correct.
Yeah. What else? Anything else?
I think it's mostly get over here and Skullface Flame Mouth.
Which can be, that can be the thing that helps you float, right? You kind of point your head down and try to propel a little bit with your flame.
Oh, a Princess Peach gimmick.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's Princess Peach. Princess Peach is a straight line. I think it's, pulling out your parasol to float downward slowly.
Okay, I
No,
was thinking
like a Super Princess Peach gimmick.
Yeah.
I thought it was like the cape in Super Mario World where you could go whoop 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 whoop. Maybe not.
Well, I don't think you can make yourself go up higher. I think it's just, you slow down your descent. I don't know if he like flips upside down completely 180 or if he just kind of like lies on his stomach and maybe kind of has his arms out like a flying squirrel,
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a really cute animation where he's kind of like wiggling as his skull face flame mouth is in the front. Yeah, okay. This is good. So
I'm on board.
we've got Get Over Here and we've got skull face flame mouth float, and you could probably combine the two to get into really, really cool areas that have treasure chests.
And I'm gonna assume that you can swing with your Get Over Here tether.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
But if you do the like diagonal sort of wave beam or whatever to hook onto things, what he actually says instead is go over there.
Yeah.
Like he knows that he's trying to go somewhere, so he goes, go over there.
Oh god, I made a terrible Yo Mama joke on Twitter a long time ago that I
repeat it
apparently
then.
am proud enough of to remember now, which was your mama's so ugly that when Scorpion sees her, he says, "Get over there."
Stay over there.
Yeah, stay over there. So bad and stupid.
Do we care about the story here?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, why is he getting over that mountain?
he's mad at Scorpion. I mean, no, he's mad at Sub-Zero.
That's like the only thing I know about the mythology of Mortal Kombat is that Scorpion hates Sub-Zero.
Yeah, they're mad at each other.
Yeah.
They're like the fighting Mario and Wario.
For some reason, in the new one, I guess Scorpion's bad and Sub-Zero is good.
I don't care about because we're doing Mythologies, which I think, I don't know, like I think Mythologies is exploring the canon as it was at that time, maybe during like 3.
Well, I mean, we're making it now though, so I'm thinking like it's got to be Unreal Engine, but still like that same relatively tiny character. So it's not like I still want it to be 2D side on, Metroidvania style.
Nice.
With visual novel elements, etc. Yeah, I mean, I'd play this.
And getting over Mortal Kombat Mythologies, getting over here with Scorpion.
Yeah, and you can get new fatalities as you go along, and the fatalities are like what gate certain areas. You got to be able to lift some guy's skull up so that it touches the ceiling and sets off a sensor.
Oh, that's good. I like that. That's the opening up a door with a missile in this game. All right, we've settled it. Are video games capable of intentionally evoking the secondhand feeling of embarrassment often associated with British comedies?
Yeah, or what's his name? God darn it.
Larry David.
You know what I'm talking about. Larry David. That's
the
very
cringe
same
comedy.
Yeah.
Is there an equivalent of that in video games?
It's weird. I feel like there's something about games where if you try to do that kind of cringy thing, it's harder to believe that the person doing it is like aware of it or doing it on purpose. You know, it kind of feels like maybe this person's just bad or something. It's such a hard line to not cross the cringiness. I don't know.
Part of the problem is like if this is like something to do with like the player's control, like you need to actually believe that you are saying something smart and like just coming off completely wrong in the moment. Otherwise, you're just like, oh, well, this is obviously a bad choice.
Yeah.
And that has a distancing effect.
Yeah, with the cringy stuff, I think a big part of it is like you're watching this happen and you cannot control it. It's like you know that this guy's about to try to find out where this lady that he met one time in a department store lives by like buttering up her supervisor, and it's going to be this whole scenario, and you just want to stop them, but you can't because it's a narrative.
I think the closest thing is like those messages in Dark Souls Online where it's like someone just encouraging you to walk off a cliff with something like really positive, and then you do it, and like then you feel like an asshole for like believing this random stranger.
I just thought of something in games where you're presented with dialogue options where all of the options they give you are things you would not say, and whatever you pick is going to be, it's going to end up horribly, but whatever you pick is your fault because you're picking that bad option of the 3 bad options, so you're going to feel bad either way. That happens to me a lot in those kinds of
Yeah, I guess that exists. The only way to win is not to play, really.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like the problem there is like you then just blame the author. You're just like, oh, well, who
Yeah.
wrote these choices? That wasn't me. I wouldn't have said this. And like you get
Exactly.
like really indignant about it. You need to like genuinely believe that you picked the right choice, and then like we're
Mhm.
just wrong on like the face of it.
That's why it works so well in linear narrative, because that character believes that they're making the right choice. You can see that they're either fully believing that they made the right choice, or they're like doubling down because they can't back out. I like the one you said, Christine, about going off a cliff and then you feel like you've been bamboozled, and then it's possible. I've certainly heard of people who then feel like they want to perpetuate it since it happened to them, which is not very nice. But that's, I guess, a way of inserting yourself into that cringy scenario. Actually, I bet where this happens is like role-playing servers in Final Fantasy 14 or whatever. I'm sure there are people who are like super committed to a bit, can't back out, and then you're talking to them and you can see them crashing and burning, and there's nothing you can really do about it. There's got to be something in there. I guess that's just real life human
Yeah,
interactions.
that's just, exactly.
That's just living.
Just living, baby.
Was there ever a Seinfeld video game or what?
They tried to make one but couldn't get the license.
Yeah.
Who's they?
The people who tried to make a Seinfeld game.
That's right.
Oh, that's the name of the studio.
Yeah.
I'm imagining it's like Pac-Man New Adventures, where like you just have to like try to lead them away from disaster, and then it doesn't work.
Yeah, maybe lead them toward disaster.
Manipulate their emotional state in order
Yes,
to.
yeah. Oh my god, I could talk about this game for a full episode with Christine Love.
You're trying to get George Costanza out of the house, and so you got to make like a pretty woman walk down the hall 4 times, and then and he's like, if she turns around one time, I'm gonna go,
Yeah.
something like that.
It was just 2 guys, and you could find the pitch on SeinfeldGame.com. Nobody went for it, but it took Twitter by storm a little while ago.
Took Twitter by drizzle, I guess.
It took Twitter by drizzle. You may have seen it. I'm sure Esper will link to it in the show notes.
Quiet storm, soft and warm.
Here's a little bit of a nuanced question, so try to keep up. Should games with a customizable protagonist and multiple love interests assume a default bisexuality for all parties involved? Or is there value in locking certain characters to specific sexualities, which may or may not involve the player?
Oh, wow. Speaking of Christian Net, I had a long conversation with him about this. I'm curious to hear what other people think first.
I feel like, honestly, just in practice, I have not seen the version of this where it's like actually been interesting. Like if you're having a love interest that is only interested in women, and like as like the bisexual protagonist, I'm like, am I getting something like really interesting out of that? Whereas like I feel like generally in games with customizable characters and like large numbers of romance options, you're not really getting into a lot of detail about the queer experience. You're usually just doing something fairly straightforward. If it was ever like actually interesting that someone is, like for example, our hypothetical lesbian love interest who simply like is not interested in heteronormative life, is not, like interested in marriage, is not like considers herself an out, like in any aspect of the queer experience at all, like just anything adjacent to that. If you could pull interesting points out of that, then like that's great. But if this is just a character in a big science fiction story who has like no real relationship to the real world, then like why bother gating this? Why are you like just alienating people for like no benefit at all?
Yeah.
Like, is a bullet point interesting? No. Is like a character dynamic interesting? Yeah, but are you actually going to deliver on that character dynamic?
Yep, that's a lot of good points there. The discussion that we were having was kind of like, it's unrealistic to show such an uninteresting depiction of the queer experience. And it's an unrealistic expectation to set that you could romance anybody in the world. But I also feel like if it's fantasy, if it's total fantasy and your character is a blank slate, kind of a nothing person anyway, why not let people live out whatever fantasy that they want, and that could be a positive. But of course, it's much better if you're actually showing something and actually talking about something, which just opens up a whole new direction. I remember in Dragon Age when they had the bisexual male character for the first time, and it's pretty much limited to him being like, I go both ways, and then you can also romance him.
Choose
as
a
male
way.
character. Yeah, that's right. I think that it was genuinely interesting for some people just because previously you would get like a graphic depiction of like a lady with her boobs out, kind of like grinding on top of your generic avatar character, and now you can get a man with his shirt off grinding on top of your character, and like there's probably actually some value to that, and it at least got away from. I mean, you remember in the early 360 days, it was like, sure, we'll have queer characters, but it's only going to be lesbians only. That was true for quite a while there because they were afraid of showing gay male sexuality because of their gamer bro base.
This is the only gay that my penis finds interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah, comics were also going through that for a while, and we're just now seeing more than that.
Yeah.
People were like so upset in Dragon Age, like you have to shoot down Anders when like he makes like one pass at you, and it's like, really? This is this is a huge imposition. Politely saying no, but thanks is like horrifying to you. This is changing your world.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a really interesting discussion, and it's hard to imagine a game that was not about the queer experience doing a serious job of it, because you really have to pay attention and do it well. And so why would they? I don't know. But it would be nice. I think that's obviously the preferable route, is to have it actually matter and make sense. But I'm still not sure whether it's. I don't think there's anything wrong with a generic protagonist being able to romance anybody, even if it's unrealistic. At least it feels like some nice fantasy role play for somebody.
Right. And I mean, like the whole point is that like it's a fantasy, right? Like this is part of the fantasy is, you have romances available.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. But it also makes sense that it would be a lot better if it were like, there are eligible members of whatever gender with whatever sexuality, and you can explore that, but only with the people who actually have, for whom that's actually meaningful. But that's, that feels like a whole video game right there. Be a good visual novel.
Yeah. All right. Brandon, do you have a question for the class prepared now?
I do have a question, and I'm going to try to not make it confrontational.
Good luck.
Come at me.
It's for Christine specifically. We'll start with just the base question of why is Get in the Car Loser free? Because, well, okay, I will also say it doesn't feel like it should be free. It feels like you should have to pay for it. And how can I charge somebody for an RPG when your game is free?
So the reason why it's free is because the last time I made a free game was 10 years ago. It was called Digital Love Story. It was made in the span of a month. It's not very good. It's got some endearing qualities. It's got some stuff that clearly this person's going to have a career in video games, but like it's not really narratively strong. And like I don't want anyone who's like, oh, what are Christine's games about, to go, I'm going to check out the free one, go back to this thing from 10 years ago and be like, oh, well, obviously I don't give a shit about what she does. This is just a real rough time. Hence, new free game, Get in the Car Loser.
But it's such a real game.
It is a real game. It is a video game as video game. It's got like numbers. You press buttons and like actions happen. People throw punches. It's like video games.
It's not a visual novel.
There's visual novel elements.
It is not a visual novel. There's like a skull, a score thing. It's a video game. And I'm hoping that people will love this so much that they then immediately go and buy the DLC, which is actually, like funding the actual like cost of development. And now that they've gotten a taste for this, they'll be like, well, but I want to see more of these character stories. Please, I'm going to buy the DLC that's on sale right now and see more. That's my hope. Is this going to work? I don't know. It was a terrifying decision, and I look at like Toby Fox just released Deltarune Chapter 2 and is clearly doing something along those lines, where it's like also like a huge, not quite as long a game, but it's still like clearly like a very, very, very big release, and like that's also free. And I'm hoping this doesn't, like, people realize that like you do have to pay for something in order to like actually like support the development of these games.
Yeah.
That's what's challenging for me. Like Deltarune, I get it because Toby Fox is basically rich at this point. Like he can release the thing for free because he doesn't need the money. But I find it challenging when a game that is as fully featured as yours comes out for free, when we do need to sell video games still to live. But I think it's an interesting experiment that you're trying with the DLC, But I'm very cynical about the prospects of that myself. I feel like people love free, and once it's free, that's kind of, they're done with that. But I guess we'll see how that works out for you.
I definitely wouldn't want to have done it, without like that big please, here's what the actual price of the game would be if I wasn't doing this wild experiment. Please, like, spend this money right here. That's for
Yeah.
sure. But like,
Yeah.
also, just I don't know, not to get like too much into the shop talk, but like, it's really hard to get like games noticed at this point. Like
Oh,
right
sure.
now, you're
Yeah.
like competing with so much stuff on Steam. There's no guarantee that anything's gonna get noticed. This is like, frankly, I don't want to, keep making games for just like the same group of people. Like, my fans are incredible and I love their support, but I need to reach more. Otherwise, this isn't sustainable.
Yeah.
And like cutting through the noise of that, like, is just really difficult. It is really difficult to market games in 2021.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's I have so many thoughts about this.
You got 2 minutes.
I understand the need to get it out in front of as many people as possible. Right now the only ways to really guarantee money for a game is like get into one of the platform subscriptions at this point. Like otherwise, there's no money guarantee, there's no visibility guarantee. And so that would be another factor for me if I were thinking about releasing a free game, would be that once it's free, I can't get Microsoft or Sony to give me money to put it into their service, because it was already free. And that would make me nervous as well.
I don't know. It's like you're already going up against like, so I don't know. There's so much stuff on game. I don't have Game Pass because like I'd just rather pay like full price for everything. I'm happy to support that. But like, man, there's so much stuff on Game Pass.
Yeah.
There's just like constantly new interesting indie stuff that's like already being released, perceived as free for like a huge number of people. It's like that's what you're up against already.
Right. That's where I am just kind of lost in the woods, because it feels like there's been this race to free for a long time, to games just being free, and I worry about the expectation of full-featured games being free on the part of consumers. And you can't turn back time and stop that. But
I think it's a really valid worry, especially like when you look at like what happened on mobile, right? Like now there's no such thing as a premium game on like on mobile at all. There's either like a few games that charge money, and like otherwise it's just like gacha hell.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I definitely wouldn't want, like, I wouldn't want everything to turn into that, which is like why I'm hoping, like, my paid content is just specifically, it's just new content. It's bounded. It's not, trying to siphon small amounts out of you. This is just, here's extra game, please pay for it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, you look at mobile and like that is like definitely something I am terrified that could happen to everywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you consider like Doom style, putting part of the game free and then paying to unlock the rest of it, or did that feel too like restrictive?
Bring back like the shareware model?
Yeah, shareware model.
I mean, I feel like it's definitely I don't know, part of like what made that model really work was that like the first episode of those was always just like it felt like a full game. Like
Yeah.
it was already like you were getting the full game. A lot of people just like stopped after the end of Doom Shareware episode 1 and were like, I'm satisfied. And I'm
Yeah.
hoping that, I'm hitting the same thing where like people play like the full game and are like, oh, I'm satisfied. But then some of them are like, but I could go for more. I'd love to see where it goes from there.
Well, what's
Yeah.
the substance of the DLC compared to the free game?
So the substance of the DLC is there's like a whole new story chapter. The original game is like the main game is like 4 chapters, and then you get one extra chapter. Right now we're working on some extra DLC as we go along. So like the hope is that we'll have another 2 chapters after that, and that'll like make like people feel really compelled to go for it. I hope, assuming that people even like pay for the free like the first DLC chapter. It was also like every time I had an idea for like new abilities that were just like too weird for the game, I threw them into the DLC. So it's like you get the stuff that's like maybe overpowered or maybe just too complicated to use, and they're all in there. So it's like advanced mode basically, but also like you're getting new story.
Neat.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's man, the whole idea of everything makes me nervous right now of selling a video game.
Put that on a t-shirt.
It's really, oh god.
T-shirt or like one of those jackets they have for small dogs, like I'm frightened and nervous, please don't.
Yeah.
Our dog definitely needs that. We are his emotional support beings. That's for sure.
But you couldn't even get close enough to Pocket to read his shirt without him freaking out.
It's true.
So
Yeah.
the shirt would not be effective.
He'd need to have like a sign that was bigger than him that was attached to like a signboard.
I think
And then
Pocket got freaked out when we were talking about Metroidvanias.
Yeah, he doesn't like those.
He doesn't like the entire Castlevania series being narrowed down to the Symphony of the Night.
I think he doesn't like there being like locked doors. You know, like he just wants everything to be open.
That's Pocket's
true.
main criticism of the Igavania genre.
He was really mad at a hummingbird today, so he'd probably hate the Medusa heads as well.
Everybody hates Medusa.
Yeah,
heads.
everybody does.
All right, we went really over time with that one, but I think that was worth it. Let's go right into our lightning round. Get in the Car loser shares a name, perhaps not coincidentally, with a meme based on a scene from the 2004 film Mean Girls. Can you confirm this?
I mean, yeah, that's definitely a thing. That's true.
All right. So this week, we're going to try to design 10 other games based on other lines from the same movie.
So we're playing Meme Girls is what we're doing.
Yes, we're playing Meme Girls right now. Your first game to design is I Can't Help It That I'm Popular.
Okay, like the first thing that comes to mind for me is you need to get places, but like NPCs are drawn to you, and it's kind of like walking through slime. You know, like the more that they're on you, the harder it is to walk. That's what I've got so far.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Breakup Simulator.
Oh yeah, Breakup Simulator. Alec Robbins did that, right?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
You Can't Sit With Us.
Oh, rude. Yeah. How do we make this not really mean?
The game that comes to mind for me is something like a diner dash, right? Where you have to make quick decisions to try to like sit in the right places. As far as I've gotten.
Yeah, I had a terrible idea, which is that everybody except for the player characters are in T-pose and they can't sit down.
I like that.
It's very stupid.
Fresh meat coming through.
Oh, this is Diner Dash. But you're in a butcher and you gotta get the meat from the truck to the deli, and then you gotta get the truck to the deli.
And there's like birds trying to peck at the meat as you drive.
Yeah, the birds. There's cats like coming in when you got fish. There's hungry dogs, but you don't want to hurt them, so you have to like have dog food with you to scatter around to distract them.
Otherwise, they get like they pull out the cartoonishly comical like ham piece.
Yeah,
and
ham
you have
piece.
to go, yeah,
T-bone steak piece.
Yeah.
Turkey leg. Those are the things you're delivering.
To generate the meat, I want you to click on a cow and just like it poofs and there's different cuts.
And then it's instantly meat. Yes.
It goes bloop, 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 bloop.
Yeah.
It's just little bits.
Exactly. She doesn't even go here.
Oh, I think this is a horror game. Survival horror game.
Okay.
High school stealth game.
Yeah, okay.
Like you just simply have to play along with all the in-jokes and like, have like tactile espionage action, except you're just trying to fit into, social cliques that you've never experienced before.
Yeah, okay, so you're trying not to let anyone know that you don't even go there.
Right. You could just do the Metal Gear thing of hide in the locker sometimes. That's just a thing.
Yeah, and let the really popular kid walk by with the slime followers on them. Yeah.
That's right. You're the whole time you're trying to make it so that the line "she doesn't even go here" doesn't get stated.
Right.
You're trying to avoid the title.
That's the game over screen.
I like that. I'm a cool mom.
It's like Diner Dash, but no. Okay, it's Sub-Zero Mortal Kombat Mythologies. Sub-Zero's mom.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, and she's just freezing everything.
It's a play on words.
Yeah, that's what I did.
This is insert credit.
Yeah, that's all I got for that.
All right. No points awarded for that one. So you agree?
So you agree. I think it's got to be a Phoenix Wright like.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Debate Club or something. But it's like Danganronpa high stakes debate club for some reason. And so you agree is just what you say instead of objection or whatever. It's your sort of yes and for debate club.
You're trying to catch them in a contradiction.
Yeah.
Catch them in a contradiction to get them to just say the exact opposite thing so that you're like, we're in agreement.
Right. That's good.
Or you like sometimes you can get away with doing the Bugs Bunny thing as well.
Oh yeah. You duck season them.
Yeah.
It's October 3rd.
What's that from?
This really sounds like a walking simulator, if I ever heard one.
Oh yeah, and it's like leading up to Halloween, and you're starting on October 3rd, and then Halloween's coming. Maybe?
It's a while till Halloween.
Yeah, I guess it's too long.
I think it's more like October 3rd was like the date of the author's breakup, and it's like,
Okay.
they're sad. They're making their
Yeah.
sad
I don't
game.
want to play this game.
I didn't say you had to like it.
No, it's true.
That's what it is.
But in order to like mix up things, like while you're walking through these traumatic memories of your terrible breakup, you like there's just like a really satisfying crunch whenever you step on a leaf. Just
Ooh.
just give you something to do.
Okay, now I'm gonna play it.
And it also signifies you like crunching the past, like destroying it as you move forward.
Or it's your heart.
this
So meaningful.
This is the first time that video games have been art.
They're gonna make me cry in
Wow.
this video game. I'm gonna cry.
All right, our next game is Don't Have Sex.
This is an edutainment game starring Sonic the Hedgehog.
I'm morally opposed to this and will not work on this project.
All right, fair enough.
No, it's not good.
It's my game of the year.
So I don't think it's officially licensed. Sonic, it's like Wisdom Tree got commissioned by the evangelicals to make Sonic do a don't have sex game on the Genesis.
Oh, and because it's a Christian company, the mascot's like a lamb,
Yeah.
like a cool lamb.
It's
Yeah.
a cool lamb that's accidentally sexy to a lot of people. And
Oh,
then
no.
a whole fandom develops around it later.
Yeah, I'm making the Newgrounds game based off this. That's just like you're just having lots of sex with the lamb character.
Right.
Yeah, the N apostrophe T is crossed out. Your next game is 4 for you, Glen Coco.
That's a bad one, Jaffe. Come on.
That's very
Be serious. here.
It's not a great one. What are you gonna do with it?
that's very specific. So it's what's that guy do? What's that game called? You're that one where you drop checkers down into a grid. You know what I'm talking about?
Connect 4.
Connect 4. It's Connect 4, and you play it against Glen Coco.
I think that's the best we're gonna do for that one.
What is that from?
That's a line from Mean Girls.
Oh, it's from Mean. Oh, these are all
Is it
from
all
Mean
from
Girls.
Mean
I didn't
These
know
are
this.
all
Yeah.
lines from the film Mean
Okay.
Girls.
I thought they were from different films, possibly. Okay,
No,
I get it.
they are all
I get it.
lines from the film Mean
Now
Girls.
I understand what we're doing.
The 2004.
Epic.
Some of these lines are possibly in that unreleased Nintendo DS version of Mean Girls.
Your final line is, "Why are you so obsessed with me?"
Oh, you know what? It's October 3rd, but from the former lover's perspective.
There you go.
Ah.
It's a
Yeah, it's
response game
Part 2.
from the other person.
Callback.
It's
game.
kind of like when rappers, respond to each other's
Yeah.
songs, but it's
Yeah.
in game form.
Yeah, it's a diss track.
It could also be a sequel to I Can't Help It That I'm Popular.
Yep, I thought about that too. It could just be, but that would be more of a straight sequel. I like this.
I want a video game diss track.
Flatback
Come on.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That might be it. All right, I'm tallying up the points here, and Brandon, you are our winner again. Congratulations.
Son of a heck.
Yeah, you did it without even trying, which means you get to come up with another question next week. But right now, this is the point of the show where we can plug the things that we're working on if we are so inclined, and also recommend actions or pieces of culture that our audience can take or consume before the next episode drops as a way to fill those long hours in between releases.
Yeah, I have a good one that I was gonna do some research on before I talked about it, and then I didn't do the research, and so now I guess I can't do it.
Oh well, maybe next
Look
week.
forward to that later. I guess it being October, I feel like I should recommend horror movies. It's the spooky
October.
season at the present time. And so I will recommend the movie Dead and Buried, which is about a West Coast coastal town of a very specific type that gives a curious vibe. And people are dying and then coming back. But they don't have a real awareness of themselves having died. And it's a bit of a mystery. It's also pretty hardcore in terms of violent deaths. And it surprised me a little bit. It also inspired a Alien Sex Fiend song. It was pretty good. They have a song called Dead and Buried that you can enjoy after you watch that movie. So that's the one that I will recommend this time. And then I'm also going to recommend that you listen to Miho Fujiwara, who has 4 songs on the California Crisis OVA soundtrack. And they're all really cool city pop, jangly guitar, nonsense stuff. And it's too bad she only did 4 songs because they're great. And I recommend it. Just give that little EP a listen and have yourself a good old time. It's kind of the opposite of a horror movie, that EP is.
Frank, do you have something interesting to recommend?
No, unless you want to hear about some office furniture I've been shopping for.
Do I ever?
If you need like really heavy duty furniture that stores media, Brandon, you might need that.
Oh, I do. I need it. Tell me about it, please.
There's only one company that makes the good stuff, and they are at cdcabinets.com. And for the product that they make, I find the price is fairly reasonable. These are like really heavy duty things you want to like bolt to the wall. This is like stuff you'd see in an office or like a library, which coincidentally is what I run and why I'm shopping here.
About how much we talking?
I don't remember.
Okay.
It's in my budget. It might not be in your budget.
This is exactly the Web 1.0 kind of website that I would expect to buy a CD cabinet.
Isn't it awesome? Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you're looking at, I don't know. I'm looking at like CD stuff, depending on the size, like 550 to 900. But this is like the real stuff, you know. It's like you will have this forever.
Because you can buy at Rasputin Records here in California. You can buy CD shelves there.
Oh, these are not shelves. These are drawers, my friend.
Oh, drawers. Okay, that's a different story.
These are heavy-duty metal drawers.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Well, I guess that's kind of a recommendation. Okay, you know, how about this? I'll do a little plug here, which is that Video Game History Foundation, we are getting ready to do our winter fundraiser that will be starting November 30th. Well, first of all, yeah, please go throw us a couple bucks. That would be awesome. But actually, the reason that I'm pitching it now is that we're looking for companies that will do dollar for dollar donation matching, because it turns out that the kids go crazy for that if there's donation matching. So if you are a company that could put maybe $500 into a sponsorship, we'll put your logo on the website and the Twitter and stuff. Give me an email, frank@gamehistory.org.
cdcabinets.com. I know you're listening.
Yeah, cdcabinets.com. Sponsor us, frank@gamehistory.org. If that sounds like you, or if you work for a company maybe that would like to do a sponsorship and you want to go do the legwork of asking the right people about it, we'd really appreciate that, because last year we got like 10K in sponsorship, and it was like, cool, let's start our 30-day drive. And like day 1, we hit the 10K immediately, and then the rest of the month was like no donations. It's like, oh, we didn't raise enough, so let's raise more this year.
Yeah.
And expand operations and save video game history here.
You got a real opportunity to talk about having a fundraiser, and I think you should capitalize on it. Yeah, the end.
Well, video games aren't fun. I don't think.
They're not.
Video games haven't been fun since 1998. Get with the program.
I remember all those like 80s style. It's not a fundraiser. It's a fundraiser. Got to bring it back.
Well, I'd love to recommend a video game, but unfortunately I haven't played one in 4 years due to having just released my lesbian road trip RPG, Get in the Car Loser.
Woo!
Which I would recommend. Please play
buy
it.
the DLC.
Pick up the DLC, Battle on the Big Boardwalk for $10 so that Brandon will be less upset. Thank you.
Thanks, please.
It's got the weird stuff in it. I know you love the weird stuff.
Yeah, gotta love it.
I've got some recommendations of my own. I would like to recommend that if you're listening to this show on any platform where you can subscribe to or review podcasts, that you do that for us. We really appreciate all the reviews we get, and they help move us upwards and forwards through the algorithms which dictate whether we find new listeners. You can go to patreon.com/insertcredit as well, where you can become a patron to submit your own topics, get our regular episodes 1 day early.
1 day early?
1 day early!
Nice.
And
Good
even
work.
access monthly bonus episodes and other exclusive content. You can join us on forums.insertcredit.com and follow us on Twitter for our own personal updates and projects. The show is at Insert Credit. I'm at Alex Jaffe. Brandon is at Necrosofty. Frank is at Frank Cifaldi. And Christine, what's your Twitter handle?
Christine Love.
At Christine Love, just like they drew it up. This show is edited by Esper Quinn with music by Kurt Feldman. Check out that soundtrack on Bandcamp. It's pretty good.
It's hot stuff.
Yeah. This is the part where we all say our names in sequence, and Christine, you'll go last. Once more, I'm Alex Jaffe.
I'm Frank Cifaldi.
And
I'm
I'm
Brandon
Christine
Sheffield.
Love. I can't count.
It's fine. We'll sort it out in post, or not,
Yeah.
depending on what's funnier.
Yeah.
And you have now completed the episode. Congratulations.
Hooray!
Brandon, look in general. Look what's
Oh my
on
God,
auction
I'm
right
looking
now.
at it. I'm looking at it.
Oh my God.
Oh, hello.
Jesus,
Wait,
heritage
what?
auctions, huh?
Good
This
night.
existed?
Oh yeah. Oh, I've
It's
touched
real.
this thing.
Yeah, I
Oh wait,
tested too.
I can probably find a photo of me next to this thing if you need that. If you need proof, Christine.
I do need proof.
Okay.
I absolutely show me this photo.
For the listener
Okay.
to this potential bonus content, we are looking at an Infinium Labs Phantom, the Roe Brady design, prototype console circa 2003. It's currently going for $2,100.
Dang.
And, well,
It
worth
was
it.
really dramatic when this killed Mario. I was just like
Yeah.
shocked by that.